This video is brought to you by Squarespace.
Ow, shit. Oh, here it comes. Is it on? God, that was exhausting. Quick little disclaimer for you guys. Most of the things that surprised me about buying my first home are related to owning my own business. So if you have a corporation or if you're a sole proprietor, a lot of the tips in this video, not all of them, but a lot of them are going to apply to you. So just know that before continuing to watch this video. Tip number one is, in short, you should have 2 years of records of payments, of business transactions, of having a viable business for your corporation for it to be considered by a lender. You also need, for those 2 years on the personal level, to have a good income of, it depends on the house that you're gonna buy, but you need a solid personal income. And here's why. The lender is going to look at your income on the personal level first, basically. It's weighted much more heavily than your income from your corporation. Here's the trick though, because it makes more sense financially to keep most of your funds in the corporation, because in short, you're taxed on a lower level and you can write off more things through your corporation. So you can keep more of your money if it stays in the corporation. So in order to buy a house, you're going to, for those 2 years, have to pay yourself a solid amount of cash to qualify for the best possible mortgage you can. But because of that, you're gonna have to pay more personal tax. Just know that that's what the lender is gonna look at. Your personal income, and then the corporate is second. The second tip is, if you run your own business, again, disclaimer, you're gonna need at least a 20% deposit. And that wasn't news to me. That was probably the one thing that I actually did know going into it. But for anyone else, you need a minimum of 5%, I believe, in Toronto, if it's for the first like $500,000 you're spending. For our first condo, we actually put down more than 20% because we wanted a much lower mortgage, because we wanted to keep traveling and have more money to spend. So if you can afford to do that, I would also recommend doing that as well, but it depends on your lifestyle. Tip number 3 is always have more cash available to you than you think you need for closing costs. And this is a big question mark for some people. They're like, how much is it gonna cost? I have no idea how much to set aside for that. And it's really stressful because things keep coming up along the way. Lawyers, fees, everybody takes a slice of the transaction. But on the bright side, if this is your first purchase, not only do you get the first time homebuyers incentive, which knocks your costs down a little bit, but you also don't have to pay for a lot of those extra things when you're selling a house. But that's a separate video. We're not gonna talk about that. In that case, you're gonna need even more money for closing costs. But in this case, I believe with our first condo, and it was my first home that I purchased, I only paid about $10,000 in closing costs, but it could be more. I would say you're gonna want at least a safety of like 20K in your back pocket, just in case, and then you'll feel pretty confident. But it could be more depending on the home you're buying. It's a lot, and it sucks. Have fun. Tip number 4. Tip number 4 is use a mortgage broker, because they're gonna shop around and find the best rate for you, and it's just a lot easier, a lot less stressful, because they have the opportunity to buy down the rate and get you the best possible deal. Tip number 5 is that most likely your best mortgage rate is not going to be with a bank or a traditional lender. You're gonna end up working with an alternative lender, and we've always done that with both of our home purchases because usually they offer the best rate for you. Now, number 6 is more of just something to be aware of, is that your broker is going to keep shopping around for you until the last possible minute. So it may be literally the day before your closing date, and that is when you're signing those mortgage documents. And that is really stressful. And when we first bought our condo, that was really overwhelming, and we had no idea whether we were gonna have a mortgage. But now going into this house, we were familiar with the process, and that's kind of just the way it goes. You'll have different offers come through, but you wanna wait until the very last minute to get the best possible deal, because like I said, these opportunities can come up even a day or two before closing. So if you're locked in, if you're locking yourself into a mortgage, then you definitely want to get the best one possible. And that's your mortgage broker's job, is to shop around, maybe even buy down the rate a little bit and get you the best deal, because ultimately they want to get paid too.
You enjoying this video? Cool. Couple things I'm gonna ask you to do then. 1, maybe subscribe to my channel. 2, listen to me talk about Squarespace for a minute. Thanks. I used Squarespace to make my website. I legitimately did, even before they paid me to do this ad. The template I chose was clean and stylish, and I literally built it myself. I really struggle with design, but Squarespace made it super easy for me to showcase my portfolio beautifully. The platform is super easy for me to customize, update regularly, and I can get analytics about the purchases made on my digital products through my online store. And I run my own business, so I don't have time to learn a whole new platform. All right, so head over to Squarespace for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, you can use this code right here to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Thanks, Squarespace. Now back to the video.
Tip number 7. In my humble opinion, it is better to stretch yourself a little bit financially than to buy something completely in your comfort zone. And here's why. Most likely, your income is going to grow over time. And then by the time you realize you could have afforded something a little bit bigger and maybe a little bit nicer than you ended up purchasing, you really don't want to go through the whole process of selling and buying again and paying all the closing costs. It's expensive to move. Moving costs, closing costs are expensive. And usually this ends up happening accidentally because you end up looking at something that's a little bit over what you anticipated on spending, and it meets every single one of your requirements. That happened to us both times we purchased homes. Bless you, Luna. My cat is right over here. So I would recommend to go a little bit outside of your comfort zone financially, because not only is it gonna make you a little bit happier, it'll make you a little bit scared at first, but you'll realize it's not as bad as you thought, and your income will, I'm assuming, hopefully, as your life goes on, increase, and you'll grow into the home. So don't worry too much about this. It's normal. It's all part of the process, so don't be scared to look for something a teensy bit above what you thought you could afford. Number 8, and I have a little bit of a story to go along with this, is take pictures of everything, especially the appliances in the home when you're just starting to go through that paperwork, waiting for your mortgage, waiting for your closing date, because sometimes things happen, sometimes things don't work, sometimes people switch appliances out on you, and you want to make sure you have a photo with a date on it that if you have to get legal involved, then you can fall back on that and you literally have proof that the wool, the wool has been pulled over your eyes. Then you have proof that you've been bamboozled. This actually happened to us when we bought our condo. Chris took pictures of every appliance, but he especially took pictures of the laundry machines, the washing machine and the drying machine. And then after living in the apartment for, I think, at least 3 months, we realized this isn't the same washer dryer. I was like, I didn't think it looked like this. And Chris was like, I thought they were way newer. And I was like, I thought they were newer too. And then he pulled up that photo. He's like, oh, I have a picture of the washer dryer. This isn't the one that it was supposed to be. It's been switched out. Long and the short of it, we did get lawyers involved. Legally, we were still supposed to have that washer dryer, and the previous owner had to return them. Stuff like that can happen. But at the end of the day, when you're buying a home, you're buying it in a certain state of quality. Everything should be in working order. Plumbing needs to work, light fixtures need to work, and especially appliances need to work. So long story short, take pictures of everything. And tip number 9, the final tip of the day, is that buying a home is not as scary as you think. You're going to feel very unprepared, very silly, very stupid, asking all different types of questions that you think the answers should be obvious, but you don't know the answers to them, so you're asking dumb questions. You're totally allowed. For everyone, we only end up buying a certain number of homes in our lifetime. Most people only end up buying a couple. So the process every time is different. You're not a professional. That's why you're getting people to help you, like mortgage brokers and real estate agents who know what they're doing and know their job, and they'll give you all the advice and give you all the insights that you need. So don't be afraid to ask silly questions. They're not as silly as you think. It's always going to benefit you to ask those questions than to not ask them and be clueless and have mistakes being made. So don't worry, trust the process. Everything will be fine. It'll be great. And congratulations if you're watching this video. It means you're thinking ahead and you're gonna buy your first home. So that's very exciting. Try and focus on the exciting part of it, not the stressful part. Thank you guys for watching. She says, thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, please give a like down below, subscribe if you're not already, and hit the notification bell to get notified for all future videos, and we'll see you, in the next one. You done with me?